All right. So in this review, I promised that when we talked about linear and this packet from last week was broken up into slope and rate of change. It was broken into writing equations and linear regression. So many other topics, parallel and perpendicular lines, graphing, key features of linear equations, transformations, writing inequalities, graphing inequalities, and then systems of inequalities. And I promised that I would do a video on each one. So we're going to start with the first one. All right. And that is slope and rate of change. I think we've completed the first one, but it says the graph shows the linear relationship between the maximum area in square feet that can be painted and the number of gallons of paint used. Which of these best represents the rate of change of the maximum area painted with respect to the number of gallons of paint used? Now, when we talk about the rate of change, right, that's the key word here. Of all the things we read, we need to pay attention to the rate of change. Because based off of our notes, we know that the rate of change also means slope. And slope means rise over run, or change in y over change in x, which if we have 2 points, we say y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Now that may seem like a lot, but you can determine which one you want to use. Particularly with the graph, we probably will want to focus on the rise over run. But we first have to identify 2 points. So let's do that. All right, we have a point here. This point right here, the y is 200, but the x is 0.5. Okay, the x is 0.5. And then here is another point where our y is 400 and our x is 1. So we rose from 200 to 400 is 200, right? So we rose 200. That's the top. And we ran from 0.5 to 1 is 0.5. So if we put this in our calculator, take 200 and divide it by 0.5, this is equal to 400. Giving us an answer of C. Giving us an answer of C. All right. So then the table shows the linear relationship between the balance of students' savings account and the number of weeks he has been saving. Based on the table, what was the rate of change of the balance of the student savings account in dollars and cents per week? Key word here, out of all we read, you just need to pay attention to the rate of change, right? Because that means slope. And we said slope means rise over run, which is change in y over change in x. When we rise, that's the y, right? Run, that's the x. So, what do we do when we're given a table? Well, we need to identify 2 points in the table. Let's say 0, 32, and 1, 39, right? Or we can put it in the calculator, right? We have a couple of ways of doing this. But if we identify 2 points in the table, we know that this is our second y, y2. This is our first y, y1. This is our x2, and this is our x1. So we could just plug it into this here formula, right? So that we end up with 39 minus 32 over 1 minus 0, which gives us 7 divided by 1, or just 7, is our answer. All right, there we are. There's our 7. We're given a graph here, and it says which of these best represents the rate of change. And I know you're like, Miss, you didn't even read the problem. Nope, because it said rate of change. So I know all I got to do is find the slope, right? So I identified this point here. All right, this point here is the point 0, 15. And well, what's another point? This point here is 10, negative 50. So the rate of change, we can do rise over run if we like that, right? Clearly we're going down here, so that's negative, right? Because we're going down. And then we're going right, and that's positive. So how much do we go down by? Well, 10 to negative 50, we went down 60. And from 0 to 10 is 10. So this is negative 6. Which answer is closest to negative 6? A, for sure. Maybe you don't like rise over run. That's fine. You could definitely make this your Y2 and your X2, and this your X1, Y1. Plug it into the formula, right? Plug it in. And it did a much better job than me because I said I did something incorrect there. But that's 10 minus 0. So negative 65 divided by 10, which gives the negative 6.5. The answer is still A. And this one, rate of change, is what it's asking for. And you see that we're given this formula, which is closest to our point slope form. Notice how in point slope form, the slope is in front of the parentheses. So this number in front of the parentheses is the slope, which is 1.5. That's why F is the answer. Here, we're given 2 points. It says, what is the slope? Since we're given 2 points, we can label. Plug it into the slope formula. So it's 17 minus negative 11 over negative 9 minus 5. So that's 28 over negative 14, which is negative 2. Gives us an answer of A. What is the slope? This is standard form. To find the slope in standard form, we take negative A divided by B. Our A in this situation is 5. Our B is negative 12. So that becomes negative 5 divided by negative 12, which is 5 over 12. J. This next one, it says, what is the rate of change? We already have points identified, so we're finding our rise over our run. We rose from 150 to 250, so that's 100. And we go from 1 to 2, so that's 1. So our answer is A. Alright, right here it's asking for the rate of change. Identify 2 points. Here's our Y1, Y2, X1, X2. When we go from 12 to 3, we're dropping down, so that's negative, right? So that should be negative 9 divided by negative 2 to 0 is positive 2. giving us an answer of B. Here, this is standard form, and we're asked for the slope. Don't forget, slope is given by negative A divided by B. So that's negative 101 divided by positive 53. The answer is H. I hope that you're getting the hang of this, because all of these, same thing. Same thing. Same thing. And now the next video will talk about writing equations.